What is up, everybody? It is your local Ottawa fan, and Team Canada wins 4-0 against the Swiss in women's Olympic hockey in the round robin. I got a lot of thoughts I'd like to share. First off, let's do a quick charge check. Let's see how the charge players on the teams that aren't Canada did. So far, Mrazova has an assist, so that's good. And Ayola has a game against the U.S. 44 saves on 49 shots against what is pretty inarguably right now the best team in the world. That's good. That's really good. That U.S. team is basically a team of all-stars. They're the favorites to win gold, and honestly, they are the favorites by a pretty significant margin, if you ask me. I do think Canada has a better chance of winning this tournament than they did in say, the rivalry series, but that's strictly due to how the tournament is formatted, which is, as I'm sure Americans are keenly aware, you could play them 10 times, they might win 9, but not this game. And I think that is the kind of mentality that Canadian players are really good at having before gold medal games, especially if they get slapped around. It's weird. Obviously, I want to beat America in the round robin. Obviously, I want Canada to win every game, but there's a small part of me, like this big, that almost wants America to do what they've done in the rivalry series. Beat us and beat us bad. Have us licking our wounds so that we are just a little extra motivated in the gold medal game. But right now, if I were to remove my Canadian pride and I were to just look at it objectively as somebody who can analyze the sport, as somebody who can just, analyze how these teams have played, somebody who's watched women's hockey since I was yay high. The U.S. is probably going to win. Like, they are looking really good. And the way they've played against us recently, the way they've been playing this tournament, they've been playing exceptionally. So, to save 44 on 49 shots is impressive, is commendable, is not something where you're like, you're letting 5. No. Letting in 5 is honestly a huge step forward, in my opinion, for Finnish hockey. And speaking of, I think that this game, despite the final score, was maybe the most massive step forward I've seen from the Swiss women's hockey team in a long time, and it's definitely made me more uncomfortable than any beatdown against the U.S. possibly could. Like, we could lose 10-0 to the U.S. This has still made me more uncomfortable. Because this shouldn't be 4-0. This should not be 1-0 going into the third. This should not be tied at 0 going into the second. To be fair, the Swiss overachieved. And if you look at everything else, like, yes, every single puck battle, every single battle against the boards, in terms of time of possession, time in the offensive zone, who had high danger scoring chances, who had just high danger chances in general. I'm pretty sure we had, no, I'm not pretty sure, I know, we had more strictly shots on goal than they had shots on goal and shots that missed, shots that went wide, shots that got blocked. If you put all of those for the Swiss together as just one category, our shots on goal still eclipsed their total. Our high danger chances were certainly more than 6. That's how many shots on goal the Swiss had all game. Great job to Maschmeyer, who I miss. But you can't thank Maschmeyer for this when she made 6 saves, which is a testament to how well Canada played. Again, this is not me knocking down Maschmeyer, who did play well when we needed saves, and that's why I say this is a huge step forward. We needed saves. Of those 6 shots, at least 3 or 4 of them were good chances. Again, I'm going to use that same, if we played them 9 times, yeah, they might, or if we play them 10 times, they might win 9. I don't think that is the same thing. But I think, like, if we played this game 50 times, the Swiss win one. And you might think, oh, well, like, that isn't impressive. But the fact that we are even now starting to talk in the realm of, I could see a universe where the Swiss could beat Canada. Like, I think, like, they have a 2% chance. Versus, the Purell chance that we normally have, the 99.9999999% chance to win. Like, usually, and this has actually been a knock. I know it's been the one knock I've heard on women's hockey being in the Olympics. Is it even fair? Like, we know what the gold medal game is. We know it's US Canada. Like, why even watch? Until the bronze medal game and the gold medal game. And even still, if you finish in a position where you face Canada or the US in the quarterfinals, through no fault of your own, you can't compete for the medal. Oh, yes, sure, the teams that go to the bronze medal match actually get to fight for the bronze. But, if Finland ends up against the US or Canada in the quarterfinal, through no fault of their own, they're going to go home empty-handed. Is what we once said. But this is getting to a point where I can start to see... I see the universe. I see what would need to happen. It would take another amazing... I mean, Saskia Moore for the Swiss, their goaltender, was lights out. 51 saves on 55 shots. 1 5-on-5 goal allowed. All game. 1. That is impeccable. To face 55 shots and allow just 1 5-on-5 goal at any level of the sport should have you playing top minutes in major games. This is the type of thing where I'm like, every single PWHL team that thinks that they might have goaltending issues in the future should be throwing money at her right now. Throwing money. Blank check. Where just sign it. This was a game that, yes, it could have been 10-0. And in the past, it would be. In 2010, this is 10-0. In 2014, this is 10-0. This game is a complete rout where I am not celebrating any of the goals in the third. I celebrated basically every goal in the third period. Against a team that's not the US, that is rare for a Canadian fan in women's hockey. Usually by the third period, it's like, and Brianne Turner scores. It is now 7-0. Yep, Canada is still, very obviously, winning this game. We're here in the quarterfinals. It's Canada versus Switzerland, and it's the third period, and Canada has an 8-0. Oh, make that a 9-0 lead. You feel bad cheering at that point. You're like, just let the game end. And sometimes you can tell the players feel bad scoring. They're just kind of shot it at the net, and like, they can't help it. They're Canadian. They're just that good at hockey. It's like, I wasn't even trying to score, and I just instinctually did. Sorry. That won't cut it anymore. If Canada or the US gets cocky, they will lose against a team that is not Canada or the US. Like, if Canada goes into their game against Czechia or Finland and they sleep on them and they don't really try 100%, they will lose. Mark my words, they will lose. And this is the first time where I would say that. Where I can see a universe where the goaltender for Finland, hypothetically, locks in. And it's actually at a level where, yes, we've seen she can face, like, Olympic level athletes. Again, a full roster of Olympic caliber players. Look at the Boston Fleet. They are a good, strong team, and even if not every single one of them made the Olympics, they are at the highest level of the sport. And she can weather that storm. We've seen her weather that storm. And maybe Savalainen gets a goal or two, which I can see a game where Savalainen gets a goal or two, right? It'd have to be a perfect storm, but it exists. It's real. It's tangible. I can see a world where if Canada and the US are caught sleeping, another team could have a really good goaltending performance, could have one of their high-end talent players, one of their top skill players, have a really good game. And if Switzerland is a bit cleaner, this is a 1-0 game. That is gross. As a Canadian, that is scary. As a fan of women's hockey, that is the most exciting news I've heard since the PWHL was announced. Think about that. If it wasn't for the fact that we went 3 for 5 on the power play, we don't score the game-winning goal until under 2 minutes to go in the game. Every other goal we scored, the goal by Spooner, the goal by Fillier, the goal by, not Jenner, but Goslin. Jenner still is a big reason why that goal goes in. Her net front presence is huge. But all of those goals were power play goals. 2 of them in the third period. If Switzerland plays a little bit cleaner, if instead of taking 5 penalties, they only take 2, there's a very realistic chance that the final score of this game is 1 or 2-0, not 4-0. That is a Team USA kind of score. I could see Canada beating the US 1-0 or 2-0, sure. Not Switzerland. Typically, this is a much bigger gap. And here's the thing. I would be a lot more scared if the US was just running the table. Doing what they always do. Beating teams by laughably wide margins. By margins that you wouldn't see in, for example, the PWHL. Right? We're talking the 12-1 games. If there was ever in the PWHL or NHL a 12-1 game, it would be talked about for a month. It would be all anyone could talk about. It would be, how did a team, an actual honest to God PWHL team, allow 12 goals? Oh my goodness. We need to fire everyone. You need to absolutely change goaltenders, change goaltending coaches, change from the person who cleans the ice all the way to the general manager. Clean a house. And in the Olympics, if you see the score 12-1, was Canada or the US involved? Yeah, Canada or the US was involved. Oh, wow. Makes sense. But now, look at how much the US has been winning by. 5-1, 5-0. In the PWHL, if a team loses 5-0, that's bad. If the Charge come back in their first game back, we lose 5-0, I'm not going to be happy. I'm definitely going to be loud in my video. I'm going to make that clear. But at the end of the day, I'll be like, well, these games happen. You can't win them all. If the Charge were to lose 5-1, I'd be upset. Again, I'd be very upset. But these games happen. You can't win them all. If the Charge were to lose 4-0, or if the Charge were to win 4-0, I like this situation. I'd be really happy. I'd say that was an impressive win. But I wouldn't be sitting there acting like it was the most impressive win of all time. I wouldn't be lying to you and saying that this was the most dominant show of force in the history of women's hockey. I'd say it was a good game where we outplayed our opponents, we outscored our opponents, and the team that won is the team that deserved to win. These are all regular hockey scores. And yes, Canada and the US still very clearly on top. But the gap between second and third has never been smaller. And the chances of an upset happening, again, I really do believe that within the next 10 years, we are going to see a team win gold in either the Olympics or the IHF tournament, best on best in women's hockey, that is not Canada or the United States. This is a perfect example of that. Because it's not just been this game. It's been US Czechia, it's been US Finland. Games where, yeah, US is still clearly the better team. But when you look at what it used to be, how much of a slaughter it used to be, how it was such a one-sided affair, this was still such a one-sided affair. And yes, if the Charge were to win a game where they had 55 shots and they held their opponents to 6, I'd be saying maybe you should relegate that team. But think about what this used to be. This would have been 12-1. In 2018, this would be 12-1. And now it is legitimately a game where at the end of the first, we're tied at 0. Where at the end of the second, it's only 1-0, and it's only 1-0 because of a power play goal that has a chance, a glimmer of hope if you are a Swiss hockey fan, where you could legitimately see a world, an actual real world, where the Swiss beat the Canadians and you are not immediately laughed out of the room. Again, it is, like I said, a 1 in 50, like maybe a 2% chance, but it's there. It's not 0.00001%. Is there a chance that the Swiss just get ever so better at not taking penalties? Instead of 55 shots, they're able to get 10 shots lighter and hold Canada to 45. Instead of 6, they can get to 10. And they get 1 out of 10. And their goaltender stands tall for all 45. Can you see a universe within the next 5 years where that happens? If I'm being honest, I can. I can see a universe where Switzerland beats Canada, where Finland beats the United States, where Czechia wins the gold medal. Not the bronze, not the silver, the gold medal. And as usual, I want Canada to win gold. I'm going into this Olympic tournament hoping for nothing more than to see our women bring it home. If I can't get that, I want anyone other than the US. If you are an American, you should be hoping for, anyone but Canada. If you are from neither, you should be rooting for, I can't believe I'm saying this, for the US and Canada to both not win gold. Again, yes, I think the entire world should cheer for Canada. Obviously, Canadian hockey supremacy, let's go. But this is, as I was watching the game, I was, for the first time in a while, getting frustrated because I was like, just win, just beat them, score 4 goals already. They didn't get goal number 4 until 2 minutes left in the third. That's just a regular hockey score. That's the kind of thing that you could see being the gold medal game. Not the round robin where, Canada usually is winning by 10, 12, 14. This should be a laugh. This should be a laugher. And yes, again, I get it. The play was completely controlled by Canada. It wasn't even close. If you watched the game, the score does not reflect just how much we dominated that game. But that is important because I have seen it happen so many times where the team that doesn't deserve to win, that got dominated, gets a sneaky goal, gets that one goal, and their goaltending stands strong. Where do you think the term pesky sends came from? From that exact thing. where you would look at the stat sheet and say the Sens should have lost that game, but they won. Now the Sens have the opposite problem where, the score sheet, they lose. But you look at the shots, you look at the time on attack, you look at the time of possession, and you say, how did they lose? But they did. They don't ask how, they ask how many. And for the first time in a long time, I think, in my opinion, for the first time ever, the how many is a respectable score. Is a score where you can say, oh, so like a few adjustments, a few tweaks, give it another 5 years in the oven, let a few more, Czech or Finnish or Swiss or German or, take your pick, but give them a little bit more time, get a few more star players, a few more players in the PWHL getting consistent experience against the Canadian and American players that they will face in the Olympics, and who knows? I'm proud of Canada, but that was inevitable. The Swiss outdid themselves. They played a game where they at least had a chance. Until the very end, they at least had a chance. And that is huge for women's hockey. Because what's better than two teams that have a chance at winning gold? 3. What's better than that? 4. What's better than that? 5. Look at the men's hockey team. There are like 5 teams that have a real... Sweden, Finland, the United States, Canada, Czechia all have a real shot at winning gold. Like, a very real chance. I could see any of those 5 teams winning it all. Especially the big 4 of Finland, Sweden, the US, and Canada. Any of those, it wouldn't be a surprise. It would not be a surprise. We're on that path. We're on that path. That's awesome. We are on the path where I hope by next Olympics, I am saying, oh yeah, well, Canada, the US, Czechia, Switzerland, Finland. Those are the teams that might win. We're on that path. But we aren't there yet. We got a game against Czechia. And we know that they will be tough. They are not going to be an easy out like we maybe would have thought in the past. We have got to play some good hockey if we want to beat them. And if we want a chance at getting goals, we want to give ourselves the best position possible going into that game. It's time to gear up. And as always, go Canada, go!